Hi kids, this is Michael Brewer of Brewer Shipley on Retrospectives at 3SER AC Radio.
Tell us about the Los Angeles folk scene where you started out there in the 60s. We don't hear too much about what was happening over there. We hear more about the folk scene on the other side of the country.
In L.A. you're talking about it?
Yeah.
It was it was a very interesting and fun and exciting place to be. The weather was good, of course, and there were lots and lots of people there making music. And of course, it was the well, you've seen it, Haight-Ashbury in New York, and it was the times, and it was a very exciting time for myself and for Tom Shipley. Of course, we didn't have a clue what was going on. We were just musicians trying to earn a living and write some songs and whatever, and looking for a record deal, and we finally got one. But it was a very exciting time, to say the least.
Can you give us a rundown on yourself, what you were doing musically before you teamed up with Tom?
Yes, I was. Did you ask if I was making music before I got together with Tom?
Yeah.
Yes, as a matter of fact, Tom and I both started out as folk singers, solo folk singers, traveling the United States, and we both just sort of ended up out in California, where a lot of other people did when the folk scene, the folk clubs rather, sort of caved in across the country. And I had another partner before Tom for a short while, and we did a tour opening for the Byrds in about 65, I think. 8 Miles High was their current single, and there was another band on the tour with us, the Buffalo Springfield, which had just recently formed, and in fact they formed in the house next door to me. So that was a pretty exciting time. But anyway, our band broke up, and then Tom came to L.A., and I knew him from the folk circuit, and he lived right around the corner from me, and by this time I had a deal as a songwriter, staff songwriter for A&M Records, which was a brand new label at the time. And Tom and I started writing some songs together, and I helped him get a deal as a songwriter also with A&M. And one thing led to another, and we would record demos on the songs that we would write. And eventually the record company said, well, you guys have a sound and a style of your own. Why don't you record your own songs? So that's what we did. That's how we got our first record deal with A&M. Did
you find yourself starting to write differently when you realised that you were going to be writing songs for yourself to record rather than for others?
Not really, because at the time, as I said, A&M was a brand new record label, and they had all these different little rooms with pianos and guitars, and they really liked all the writers to collaborate as much as possible, and come in like going to the office every day, and that just really wasn't my style or Tom Shipley's style. And we ended up just at my house. In fact, I had an extra large closet in my house on a very busy street, but it also had a little window in it, so we had a couple of pallets on the floor and a tree stump to put an ashtray and a candle on. We'd sit in there, and it sounded great too, just facing each other, sitting on the floor, and we would spend hours in there writing songs, and that worked a lot better for us than trying to write for other people. We really always wrote for ourselves. When I think back on it, we just wrote what moved us at the time and what thoughts we had and everything. And I think that's what had a lot to do with why A&M asked us, well, why don't you guys record them yourself? Because it was part of our style. Yeah. We did have a few recordings of our songs by other artists, but mostly I think we were always writing for ourselves, even before we realized it.
Did the songwriting partnership between the two of you click right away, or did it take a while to settle into a comfortable pattern there?
Actually, it fell in right away. Tom had been writing songs, as a solo, and so had I. As I said, I had a partner, and we'd written songs together too. So when we got together, we just were of like mind in many ways, and we both played acoustic guitar, and we were both from the folk scene, and everybody was plugging in at the time too. We never did, but our music still incorporated some rock and roll as well as country and whatever. I don't know what to call it, folk rock, I guess. But it fell in real easily right away. We wrote a bunch of songs, and we liked them, and fortunately so did the record company. So
now, you mixed in some wonderful circles in the 60s and 70s. The list of names that played on your albums and who you shared the stage with is quite impressive. You must look on that with pride.
Yes, I do. I'm sure Tom does too. Well, you can't be a working musician traveling all the time, pretty much, and performing, and not run into a lot of other people, and share stages with a whole lot of other people, one way or the other. So yeah, we've been very blessed. We've gotten to share the stage with a lot of people performing. We've also been blessed with having a lot of excellent musicians contribute to our albums. So yeah, we've been very fortunate. I think back on that quite fondly.
Any standout memories there with some particular names?
Oh gosh, it would be hard after 35 years of it. It's kind of hard to pick and choose the best ones. Sometimes the smallest ones are the ones that stand out. As opposed to a 20,000 seat stadium or something.
Sure.
Although there are a few of those also. But the thing that blows my mind is way back when, some of the people we shared stages with, they opened for us before they were superstars. Bruce Springsteen opened for us. Linda Ronstadt opened for us. So yeah, that's pretty. Billy Joel opened for us. So that's kind of funny to me.
Did make quite a name for yourself supporting some major names. Was it difficult at times in those support act type situations to win the attention of the audience who are there to see the main attraction, so to speak?
With us being the supporting act?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, many times, but one in particular comes to mind. We did a 28-city tour in 28 nights, opening for Jethro Tull when their Passion Play album was just coming out. And as you probably know, Jethro Tull is very theatrical. There's a whole lot to their show. Well, we were playing, 20,000-seat arenas, and nothing was working right at all with their show. I mean, they had to go back to doing their thick as a brick show and stuff because none of their special effects were working. It was a fiasco. But the thing was, though, these are huge theaters, and we had to, well, not theaters, stadiums. We had to go on at 8, and we had to be off at 8:30. And we even had a band, by the way. It wasn't just the two of us as an acoustic duo.
Okay.
But the lights were still on in these huge places. There were thousands of people already in there, but thousands more were still filing in, finding their seats and stuff. So it was just crazy. I don't think, and they were so far away, too, most of them. And we're not theatrical. We don't jump around the stage. We're folk singers. So I don't think a lot of those people ever even realized that there were live human beings on the stage, except for the ones shooting Roman candles and throwing lit railroad flares and sparklers and stuff like that. It was chaos every night, 28 cities in a row. It was nuts.
Goodness. I believe you also opened...
But we did get paid, though.
Oh, good. I believe you opened for Black Sabbath at one point, too. Is that right?
Yes, that's another one that stands out in my memory. It was in Chicago, in the Chicago Stockyards Coliseum, and Peter Frampton was still with them. And we opened for oh, no, I'm sorry. I was thinking of, who was Peter Frampton with?
Humble Pie.
I remember. Humble Pie, there you go. There was another one. Yeah, the only time in our entire careers we were booed off stage. We were just the wrong opening act for Humble Pie and the mood of the audience. So we left the stage. Well, we no sooner get back to the dressing room, and the promoter comes out looking at his watch going, well, you guys haven't played long enough. You got to go back out there. And he forced us to go back out, and we had to go back out, and I literally ran to the microphone. And ask the audience, please, we're being forced to do this. We're not taking an encore. We know you don't like us. We have to do one more song. Don't throw any beer bottles or anything else. And so they let us do one more song, and we split. But the other one, Black Sabbath, was in Cleveland, Ohio. I remember that one, too. Yeah, that was crazy. A lot of fireworks that night, too. Our road manager, who was down by the soundboard, had a cherry bomb go off about 4 feet away from his head, so he couldn't hear very well for a couple of days.
I can imagine that would be a real tough audience for a couple of folkies to win over.
Yeah, we always refer to that as creative booking. We never could figure out what were they thinking. What song is that? Yeah, what would you like to know about it?
Did you see the hit potential of the song straight away, or did its success surprise you?
Were we surprised that it was a hit right away?
Yeah, could you see the hit potential in the song, or did it surprise you when it became a hit?
John, actually, we wrote that song one night just sort of entertaining ourselves, came up with it in the dressing room of a little coffee house we were playing, and came up with just on the spot. We were getting ready to go on stage and came up with the chorus. And the next day we got together and said, what was that we were playing last night? We did about an hour. We had a song, and it made us laugh. It was just we never really even considered it one of our better tunes. We always were more proud of some of our other songs, our ballads and things. And the first time we performed at Carnegie Hall, we were opening for Melanie, and we ran out of songs. We went over really well, got a couple of encores, ran out of tunes, so we said, well, let's do that new song we just wrote. So that's the first time we performed One Toke Over the Line was at Carnegie Hall. And it went over like gangbusters. And the president of our record company at the time, at Buddha Kama Sutra Records, came backstage and he said, oh, you got to record that. You got to add that to the album. And we were recording our Tarkio album at the time. So we did, and we just considered it another song. And lo and behold, look what happened. In fact, it ended up getting us in a lot of trouble.
You had some radio airplay problems, didn't you?
Yeah, the vice president of the United States at the time, Spiro Agnew, part of the Nixon administration, named us personally on national TV one night as subversives to American youth. We made Nixon's enemies list, which we hold as a badge of honor to this very day.
Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, you know what? The people decided to play it anyway and to make it a hit anyway. And we're certainly glad they did. It's still being played all around the world. It's just amazing to me.
Did I read correctly that Lawrence Welk performed it on TV as well and declared it a gospel song?
Isn't that bizarre? Life is very strange. At exactly the same time, the vice president was coming down on us about our little song. Lawrence Welk performed it on the Lawrence Welk Show. I can't remember their names, Dave and Dottie or somebody like that sang it, and he introduced it as a gospel song, oddly enough. Go figure.
As amusing as that is, though, is it important to you, though, as a songwriter, to see your songs wide open for interpretation like that? Oh,
absolutely. Once you write it and record it, it is what it is, and it's not even yours anymore, People will interpret it however they interpret it. People do to this day, even. It's just amazing to me. It really is open to just, individual interpretation. I think isn't that what art is all about anyway?
Absolutely, yeah. How was the relationship between the two of you and the record company? Did they pretty much leave you to do as you like? They give you free rein?
Yes, as a matter of fact, at the time, the reason we signed with that label, I mentioned Buddha Kama Sutra, was because it was when FM radio had, and albums, all of a sudden, it went from singles and AM radio to albums and FM radio, underground radio it was called at the time, playing music that you didn't normally hear, album cuts. Sometimes they would play whole albums, and it was hip, it was cool, FM radio, and it was new. And Neil Bogart, the president of Buddha Kama Sutra, was known as the king of bubblegum music at the time. And he was wanting to change that image. He was wanting to get into the FM album-oriented music. So that's the main reason he signed us. And he was wanting to get into the FM album-oriented music.
Now, the two of you parted company about 1979, wasn't it?
1979 or 80, yeah, we were apart for about 6 or 7 years. Tom was just really sick of the whole road, and so was I, for that matter. But he also had other interests and got into other things. In fact, he's gotten into videography, and he's gotten very good at doing documentaries and producing and directing and videotaping stuff. And can I mention our website, by the way?
Oh, go right ahead, yeah.
Yeah, Brewer, www.brewerandshipley.com. That's A-N-D. And you can check out all kinds of stuff on our website, catch up on what we've been doing. We're still kicking it around. We still do shows, and we've recorded a couple of more CDs since we've been with labels independently. I'd also like to say that I have a brand new CD. And by the way, John, I've already sent you a copy.
Oh, that's good to hear. Fantastic.
It's on its way.
Look forward to that.
And I hope you enjoy it. It's only my second solo CD in my whole career, and I've been making music my whole life. In fact, my CD starts with a recording of me at 4 years old singing "God Bless America."
Is that right?
So I've been doing it a long time. I'll be 61 next month.
When you split with Tom in '79, did you know straight away what you wanted to do with the next stage of your career?
No, not really, any more than I think I ever have. It was just, it was obviously a real change because we'd been together for so many years. And then it was like I was back to being solo. But I ended up recording a solo album Dan Fogelberg produced in the early 80s called Beauty Lies for Warner Brothers Records, and that was really a treat. I got to work with a lot of really excellent musicians and some old acquaintances from the past. Linda Ronstadt, J.D. Souther sang on it, and Dan wrote a song for me, and it's kind of hard to find, but it's still out there. So no, I didn't have a clue what I was going to do other than just continue to make music, because like I said, that's what I've done my whole life.
Was there any no other solo albums after that one way back then until this recent one?
No, this is only my second solo effort. And you can check it out too on our website, brewershipley.com. People can find out how to order it because that's the only way you can get it right now.
Now, the two of you got back together about 1986, wasn't it?
We got back, yeah, we were together 97 maybe. 87. I think we got back together in 87. Yeah. What was
the stimulus there that got you back together?
Well, there was a classic rock radio station in Kansas City, Missouri, that had only been around a year, and they'd gotten really top ratings and everything, and they played our music a lot. Tom and I had lived in Kansas City for a long time and had a big following there. And they sort of brought us out of retirement and said, get some of the old pickers together that used to be in your band. Let's put on this show in Kansas City, this really neat place outside. And so we said, okay, and we just kind of had control over it. So we did fly in a bunch of our old band members and rehearsed for a couple of days, and then went to KC, did this show, and it was just so well received. So many people turned out. It was broadcast live and stuff. That we did one in St. Louis, and then we ended up doing a reunion show someplace else, and just it was just fun, doing some reunion shows. But what really got us back together was the thing that got us together in the first place. We ended up doing a tour, and we were in Alaska at the time, and we started writing songs again while we were on this tour because we had a lot of time to kill in motel rooms and stuff. And that's what really got us back together again. The same thing that got us together in the first place was writing songs together.
And has it been the same songwriting method and procedure between the two of you as it was way back then?
Yep, it's just a matter of sitting down and both of us playing guitars and getting in the right frame of mind, and putting in a bunch of hours, just cranking out some ideas, and sometimes the magic happens and sometimes it doesn't. And fortunately, we can still crank out a song every now and then.
One thing you did do when you did get the duo back together was set up your own label and production company. Was that something perhaps you wish you had have done first time around?
No, because the first time around was in the mid-'60s, and, that the technology didn't even exist at the time to be able to do that. It was pretty much just the record industry. That's what there was, the record industry and performing. And I think due to technology, computers, the net, that's what enables one to be able to do that sort of thing these days. Same thing goes for my new CD and the last CD that Tom and I recorded. The technology is what made it possible to do it. Like on my CD, the engineer and I are playing almost every instrument you hear, thanks to sample sound and computers and Pro Tools and modern technology. It's pretty amazing.
You don't even
for a retro man. That's ironic because that's the name of my CD, Retro Man, and I am pretty old-fashioned. But it's like the line of the song says, just in an age of new technology, trying to keep up the best I can.
Well, the name of the
Retro Man.
The name of the program that we're doing this interview for is Retrospectives, so it all fits in nicely.
Yeah.
What is the extent of your touring these days? How much the year with the two of you spend on the road?
Actually, not as much as both of us would prefer. Tom works for the University of Missouri and does a wonderful job that he just loves, and he gets to, like I said, make television. And actually, he spends some time on the road doing that kind of stuff, too. But both of us would actually prefer to do more shows than we do because we still enjoy, getting together and singing the old songs and stuff. And especially because the audiences are just wonderful. The old fans and the new fans, I'm happy to say, too. There are a lot of young folks, too, who their parents were into Brewer Shipley music, so they grew up listening to One Toke Over the Line or whatever. So they're coming to the shows, too, college-age kids and stuff. So that's pretty cool.
And just before we finish up, Michael, what's on the agenda? What are the upcoming plans for both the duo and for yourself?
Upcoming plans would be just continue on doing the same thing we've always done. Like I said, we've been doing it together for about 35 years, and individually we've been doing it together a lot longer than that. And it's hard to predict what tomorrow holds. Like I said, I'm really excited about my new CD, Retro Man, and hoping that people get to check that out, because so far it's getting really good response. It's kind of a concept album, which you don't hear a whole lot of these days, with a whole lot of it's a personal expression of a lot of socio-political, spiritual thoughts and feelings. You just don't hear a lot of that these days. So I'm excited about that, and it's getting really good feedback. So hopefully people will check that out.
Fantastic.
And once again, I'd just love to plug our website, brewershipley.com, because you can find out what we're up to and see what shows we're doing. And we do still tour, and gosh, maybe we could come to Australia. We've never performed in Australia.
Oh, that would be something. We've got this is our festival season down here at the moment. A lot of folk and acoustic type festivals, and you would fit in beautifully down here.
Well, we would love that more than anything. I mean, we just love that. We haven't traveled internationally in a long time, actually.
Well, we'll see if we can get something started for you. Michael, thanks so much.
Great, John.
Thanks so much for your time. It's been a treasure, a real treat to catch up with you, and quite an honour to be the first Australian interview for you.
Well, it's just been a pleasure. It really has been. This is great. I can't wait to go tell my lady about how much fun it was.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
And look forward to hearing your solo CD, and we'll certainly give it some airtime here on the station, and hopefully we will see you down here in the not-too-distant future.
Well, I would appreciate any airplay you would care to give it. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope your listeners enjoy it. And thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Michael. Take care.
Bye-bye.
All the best. Bye-bye.